Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is a very special episode. We are here today with one of my favorite all-time people in the world, a very big inspiration spiritually, cosmetically, as well as talent-based, Janelle Koenig.
Wow.
How are you, love?
So good, Jehmal. Thank you. That's a big wrap. Thank you.
Well, I'm honoured that you are giving your time to chat with me.
I always have time to chat to you,
Oh,
as you
thank
know.
you. Yes, we
you
do
know.
have very good chats in the
Yeah.
green room. They get surprisingly philosophical.
Very quickly.
Very quickly.
That's more you than me.
I think so. But you hold your own in the conversations. You're a very smart person.
Oh, well, thank you.
No worries. So have you had a good day?
So we're recording this after 3 gigs.
Yes.
So I've had a great day.
Yeah? You did kill these shows. Man, those that group of 15, they loved you.
Yes, and they told me.
Yeah, many
Yeah.
times actually, yeah.
Yeah, well, who can complain about that?
Well, of course they love you because you were crushing. You're very funny.
Oh, well, thank you. It's a joy. It's still a joy.
Still a joy? Well, that brings me on to the first question because I
Oh.
don't think I've ever actually asked you how you first got into comedy. I don't know the come-up story.
My origin story.
Your origin story, yeah. Obviously,
so the
before you
very-
adopted Christian.
Yeah. And I was bitten by the spider. I started in straight theatre,
way.
acting, and that was where a lot of musicals, and that was what I studied. I studied theatre in Melbourne, and but this was the mid-90s, and everybody on TV was blonde, blue-haired, big tits, size 8. That's how it felt. That's how the scope of television, certainly at the time, it was very white, and I was not that at all. I was the opposite to all of those things. So I didn't get cast a lot in TV things. Stage, yes, quite a few things. And I thought, well...
Stage being theatre, just for...
Yes,
okay.
yep, so musicals. But all of the parts were always the character parts, like the girl that was mentally challenged or the girl that was damaged. It was never just the lead pretty girl. It was never that. And that's okay. But I thought, well, I'll go back to uni and I'll learn to be a teacher.
Okay.
So at least I can still be involved in drama
Yeah.
and get a wage. Because I was so poor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I smoked then, you know. It was expensive.
This is when they
cigarettes. Yeah.
Cheap.
And was doing another musical and was out the back smoking and telling a story, and somebody said to me, "That's stand up."
Okay.
I went,
Who said
"Don't
it to
be
you?
great, just a person in the cast."
Oh, okay.
And I said, "Shut up!" And they went, "What you've just done is stand up." And I'd always loved comedy.
Yeah?
I'd always watched comedy. That was my activity to do, to go and see comedy, but I never considered it for me.
Really?
And I thought, actually, it's just a monologue. It's a monologue.
Really, yeah.
And there's nobody else on the stage. It's just me, and there's no director, and I don't have to be cast. I just get
You
the
just
gig.
show up? Yeah.
Yeah. So I did about half a dozen gigs in Melbourne,
Okay.
and this is now mid-90s. And the gigs were fantastic. But the atmosphere backstage was toxic. It was so toxic. It was all men, all white men, all...
So obviously a lot's changed
yeah.
since the 90s, right?
You'd be surprised. Like it was very kind of very boozy, very druggy, very that. And I was this kind of early 20s girl going, "Hi, I've got jokes," and that did not fly at all.
Okay.
So the gigs were fantastic, but the payoff backstage, which you have to go through, you're sitting with these people for hours, was not worth it. So I just went, not for me. Put that aside. And then
So you did it, didn't like the environment,
loved
stopped.
the gigs,
Okay.
hated the background
The
stuff.
environment,
Yeah. And then early 2000s, so I gave it all away, and I got a really serious normal job working for the US consulate.
What?
Yeah. And I worked there for 10 years or so.
Still
and
ripping.
Yeah, still riffing, absolutely. And there happened to be, it was just before Melbourne Fringe, and I got an ad saying, "Are you funny? Are you a woman? Would you like to take part in our Funny Women's Forum?" And I was like, I got fuck all else to do that weekend.
Oh, nice.
Had nothing else to do. And it was part of Melbourne Fringe, and it was called Geez Louise, coordinated by really hugely respected female acts in Melbourne.
Okay.
And there were maybe, I don't know, 60 women, and they all turned up and they did things like mic technique and how to handle heckles and maybe have a go at character comedy. And they catered it as well because it was women.
Okay.
So you got to play and get fed.
Okay.
It's very important. And then, but there were really respected women comics there. So Rachel Berger, Michelle Laurie, people that you went, oh my God, I've been watching these people and they're here.
Oh, that would have been such
Bev Kulik was there. It was a real kick. And at the end, there was a showcase.
Okay.
And you got up and you could do 5 minutes.
Oh, dope.
And so I did 5 minutes, crushed, and got booked for 3 paid gigs on the spot.
No way.
They went, when can you come back? When can you come back? And it just snowballed from there because there weren't many young women doing comedy. And this is before I picked up a guitar on stage. It was just gags.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't have to chase it because it just came to me then.
Just flowed in.
Yeah. So that
seems so meant to be, right? So you watched these people
I was obsessed with The Big Gig, which was like a stand-up show on the ABC.
Okay.
In the late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
And so I watched these people. I knew these people. I videotaped it and would rewatch. Doug Anthony All-Stars were huge on there.
That must have been such a good feeling when they called you back, Janelle.
Yeah, and it's so extraordinary to now work with these people and go, guys, but I'm still that little kid going, oh my God, it's them.
Yeah, the inner child's still there.
Yeah,
validated all the time,
of course,
right?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So you got paid for these 3 gigs?
Yeah, I went, oh my God, I can get paid. That's different.
Yeah, that's crazy. In the arts?
Yeah. So that was the story.
So when you say that it snowballed, was it then like maybe like a year from there you started moving around? Because you're in Perth now, right? For those that don't know. So
I've been in Perth for 14 years.
So for a very long time.
Yeah. But I was in Melbourne for at least 10 before I came here.
Okay. And you were just gigging around Melbourne?
Gigging everywhere, doing little tours here and there, but always keeping the day job.
Okay. Which was the US?
The US consulate.
And are you allowed to talk about that at all? Do you want to speak about that? What was that like? What did you have to do?
It's pretty boring and not very funny.
Okay.
But I essentially did a show called Last Comic Standing.
Okay.
No, sorry, I did do that show, but I did a show called Stand Up Australia.
Okay.
And so it was on Foxtel on the Comedy Channel, now defunct.
Okay.
And it was my first kind of TV spot. And I did it, and it was in Sydney at the Foxtel studios. It was super fun, and like anyone hot was doing it. And did it, and it aired, and it was okay, and didn't think about it. And then they kept replaying these episodes. Like,
okay.
They paid you one people. They kept replaying them, which is still the case on Foxtel with just regenerating, churning. And one day I went into work, and the consul at the time called me in and said, "We need to have a talk."
Oh no!
And I went, "Oh my God, what have I done? What have I done?"
Yeah.
And they said, "The ambassador was watching TV last night and saw a show called Stand Up Australia, and you were on it." And I told a joke about the consulate.
Oh.
Which was a made-up joke. It was a made-up joke, but I did say I work at the US consulate.
Yeah.
And they said, "We've got a problem with that.
Oh no.
You need to decide whether you want to be a comedian or whether you want to be an employee of the USG."
And obviously you made the right choice.
Well, it was a very clear choice. Because I thought, if this isn't the universe going, "Hey, bitch, what are you..." Because I was like Batgirl Jehmal. I was like my old mannered consulate reporter in the daytime, and then this girl telling dick jokes at night. Like, it was such a juxtaposition.
So interesting, yeah.
It was like constant. I was never home. I was always somewhere. And I would have burned out sooner or later.
Yeah, for sure. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, and all of my holidays, I was going on tours, and so there was never just any downtime. But so yes, whether you believe in, I know you would, that some power came in and went, no, this is not for you.
Yeah, and then you chose that.
Chose it, yeah.
So were you working in the US or was it based in Melbourne? How did
it was in Melbourne, so working with American citizens.
Oh, cool.
In Victoria, yeah.
Okay, gangster. Yeah. And then, you chose, obviously, to keep going with comedy. And then what happened? You just...
All this,
baby. Look at it. So what brought you to Perth?
All this glamour. Love. Yeah.
Lame.
Yeah.
Nah, that's great.
But the crazy thing, maybe not so crazy, is that although I did have a decent reputation in Melbourne and did good work, I was never a headliner.
Okay.
Never a headliner because I was such a small fish in a big pond there. No one's going to give me the headline spot when Hughes is in the building.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
So when I did move over here 14 years ago, where there weren't any headliners, really, well, there must have been some, but you know what I mean? Like established
right?
permanent headliners.
Yeah.
It was a very small pond.
Yeah, and you've sort of become that established headliner, like as someone that works the sound here, that is the image that I have of you professionally.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting that,
So it was a blessing coming here because I definitely got opportunities here that I wouldn't have ever gotten there despite the ethic or the
talent.
Talent, yeah.
Yeah. And it goes to show, like, I guess it really just is like a male-dominated industry with saturation of people, and it's so hard to compete no matter how good you are sometimes.
Oh, I don't think it's about female and male. I think it's just...
I didn't mean it in a negative
No,
manner.
I know what you meant, but I mean, it was just the profiles are bigger in Melbourne because people who are on TV are in the venue.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? So
of course.
Tom Gleeson and Dave Hughes and all these people, Dave Thornton, they're also on the same bill. I'm never going to headline over them.
Did you ever gig with them? I'm
yeah,
sure
all those people.
Yeah. And how was that?
Yeah, good.
Because all these people were people that you watched, right?
By then they were kind of same alumni. Okay. Some were, yeah. There was definitely some that came after me that I thought they're going to be a star.
Yeah? And you were right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, nice. Do you mind sharing with some of those
Dave
people?
Thornton, for sure.
Oh, nice.
Was the one where I went, I'm watching him.
And that's actually so interesting you brought that up. So as a comic, what is that thing that you see that you know? Is it something about the personality, the way that they hold themselves, like how funny?
Everything. Okay. It's all that, but the most is the audience love. There are some people that the audience just will forgive anything. They're there for the journey. They're engaged. They're invested. And if you're, interesting enough. I'm not saying like handsome or good looking, but if you're interesting and captivating and
like the gravitas to you,
yes,
right? How much
good word.
You pull them in.
Yeah.
No, I see that a lot as well with certain people. Like there's just something about the way that someone holds themselves, maybe like the frame or the energy. It sounds so spiritual, but I just mean like when you're in that moment, you can really see who's gonna project. It's almost like clear.
I think also like holding yourself on stage. I think there's a lot to be said because my background is theatre. So I'm theatre trained.
Okay.
So the first time, when I first started doing stand-up, being under lights was not unfamiliar to me.
Of course.
I know what to do with my body and how to change my voice to get an effect. All of those things that people starting off doing comedy go, I'll write this 5-minute routine and that will be funny enough.
Yeah, you've
Bitch,
entered with a certain prerequisite skill set, right?
I did, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. Anyone that asks me, not that I'm going around telling all the new comics, but if you ask me, I'll say 50% of it is about the jokes. It's a visual medium.
Yeah.
We need to see you being funny. That's not, your joke could be amazing, but if you're not selling it...
It's just words.
You need to... Absolutely. You need to perform it.
Well, it's like 60% of all communication's body language anyway.
Yeah,
There's so much of it.
That's right. Sorry.
I feel so much more comfortable now, actually, and more safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even like... I'll often say... Not often. If someone asks me, especially on these gigs where... At the lounge on a weekend where you're doing 4 in a row with sometimes quite new people getting their first weekend gig or whatever. And I'll say, watch me. Don't listen to me. Watch.
Okay, so you actually say that.
Yeah, if they ask, for feedback because it's not just what I'm saying.
Of course not. Is it something that you have to think about, or is that a skill that's sort of now been...
It's ingrained.
Yeah.
It's ingrained now. It's ingrained from theatre school, yeah.
Well, it's almost unnatural not to do it, right? Because it's showmanship.
But also, it's why I can't often watch myself back.
What do you mean? You can't watch yourself back?
Because I don't want to know what face I'm pulling, because then I'll get self-conscious and never pull that face again. I'd rather not know that I'm going...
Well,
it's getting a laugh.
Because you've been on TV so many times.
Oh, no. But I'm not watching them, though.
Just sitting there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so obviously, so you got into... At this point, you've now gotten into comedy. But you still do theatre productions, right?
Yeah, I've been very lucky.
So what's that like, balancing the two worlds?
The beautiful thing about being in a cast is that it's a family.
Yeah, because I've done theatre like in high school and I did that stuff.
Yeah.
And the bonds that
The bonds.
And the... Almost like the way that you see someone's personality shift into a role and like into a character teaches you so much about that person.
Yeah. And your appreciation for their talent and their scope and their depth as a person. But just as, because I did have all that time in a corporate environment, going into work at 8 o'clock and leaving at 5. And that's what I miss, the office, like seeing the same people every day. I miss that.
You miss
that bond of the work colleagues, because they become your best friend purely from geography.
Of course.
You're spending more time with them than you do with your family. And stand-up is lonely, Jehmal.
It is.
It's lonely. I'll leave here tonight in my car.
I can FaceTime you on the ride home if you want. Hi.
But you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
I'm out here for half an hour by myself, as opposed to doing a scene with someone, singing with someone, interacting.
I've never actually thought about it in that way. Because a lot of people, sorry to cut you off, but a lot of people are drawn to the fact that it's just you, it's just me, which I understand to a certain element, but I've never thought about it from the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah, well, it's beautiful to have both for me.
Of course.
I've been very blessed to be.
The yang.
Yeah.
So you recently, was it 2 years ago or a year ago you did Priscilla?
Priscilla was 2020. And I've just done... It was just after COVID. And I just did We Will Rock You, yeah.
Oh, nice. How was that?
Yeah. Extraordinary.
Yeah?
Yeah. But still cast as the weird character. Still cast as that weird girl. But I've realised that that's okay.
Yeah?
Because the fucking pretty lead is boring. The quirky girl is the fun.
Everyone loves the quirky girl.
Of course. No one's going to remember the pretty girl.
Did you, you've brought that up a few times in the interview. Is that something that bothered you? Like not being cast in that particular role?
Of course, because I was, in my early 20s and I wanted to be the pretty girl.
There's a part of me that wants to be the pretty girl, so I totally get what you mean.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, that's good that you've accepted that. Like the idea of thinking that that's okay. I think you're very pretty. That's not what I'm saying.
Oh,
I'm just saying
you'd cast me in the lead, wouldn't you, Jehmal?
I'd cast you in my life.
Better.
Yes. Better. Oh, cool. So, do you ever have like second thoughts about whether you should have stuck with comedy, or is it you were like, no, this is definitely what I was meant to do?
It's absolutely what I was meant to do, without a doubt.
I get that vibe too.
There was no doubt. I'm lucky in that I can also earn money for writing for other people. So I write for other comedians.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I have written people's autobiographies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I wrote Joel's. Yeah, with Joel.
Of course.
I'm doing Jamel's at the moment. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so there's a lovely string to the bow, and I've done a lot of writing for TV as well. So script writing. So it's nice to know that there are
amazing,
other
options. I never knew that.
I told you I should send you my CV.
Yeah. How did those opportunities come about? How did you get the first? Because that would be ghostwriting, right? In music, that would be...
Yeah, it's ghostwriting.
Yeah, ghostwriting. So how did that happen?
Because Joel is a fabulous person who said she can do it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sick.
It's like Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
Do you find it weird, like writing in the voice of someone else? But that's very theatre in a way. You're sort of putting yourself in someone else's mind.
Well, I've written for many people, and I do love writing with or for Joel, because I'm never going to go, fuck, I wish I kept that joke about the serving pikelets at the gay orgy. That's not me. That's not me. But when I've written for someone, with someone like Em Raciano, who's a mum in the suburbs with kids, sometimes I've seen her, you know, she sold out the Opera House, and, you know, she's huge and she deserves everything she gets. And like, but sometimes you go, fuck, I should have kept that joke.
Yeah, there's a part of the ego that doesn't want to let that go.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure. Wow. Oh, that's so interesting.
But, you know, all the money helps.
Well, the money, definitely. And it must be very validating to provide that for peers.
Hugely.
And like fellow respected members in this scene. Like, this scene's quite small.
Yeah.
In reality. So that's phenomenal.
Yeah, it is very validating.
So we normally ask comics when they come on for the first time, like, is there a particular moment in comedy that you remember, like a bomb or a kill or like a crush? Is there something that you go, oh, that was that gig? It can be good or bad. It's up to you what you want to share.
My problem is I have the memory of an elephant, Janelle. So I remember every fucking gig.
Oh.
You want the worst one or the best one? What do you want?
I mean,
you
the
want
worst one's
one,
better for clips. I'm sorry, but the best one, you can tell me if you want.
No, the worst gig ever was on a boat.
They're always on a
fucking boat. It was, and Geraldine Hickey had actually booked this gig and then couldn't do it at the last minute, so she got me to do it. And it was me and Wayne Deacon, who was here a couple of weeks ago, and we were booked to do the Christmas party for air conditioning repairmen.
That's cold.
But it was like September, because they knew that in December they'd be fucking booked.
Yeah.
So it was on the Yarra in Melbourne. It was freezing, like so cold, and we were on this boat for 4 hours.
Who decided this?
The guy who owned the company, who wanted to heckle.
That's what he wanted to? That's insane.
He wanted to heckle. And the vast majority of the crowd were non-English speaking.
You got heckled in Chinese. Is that what you're saying?
So there was a guy that owned the company was Australian.
Okay.
White Australian. Everybody else was an immigrant.
Okay.
Of varying degrees of
not just
communication.
Chinese.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's a spectrum. And just bombed. There was no mic stand. I had to put the mic in my tits, literally. And I was like that. And could not buy a laugh. Could not buy a laugh. Just died. And then I was going... And then suddenly...
Well, they had no idea what you were saying.
They had no idea. and it's like in the below deck of a ship, and it was like weird, no lights, full light. And outside there's this storm brewing, like we're like on Noah's Ark. And out of nowhere, there's this huge wave of laughter. And my head's going, whatever you did, just do it again. Just do it again. And I'm like, I cannot work out what I've done. And then I look to my side, and there's some bloke that's gotten up to go up outside for a smoke and snuck past me. And he's trying to open the door. He's pushing the door.
Oh, my God.
And then goes, it's a sliding door. And the fucking room erupts. The room erupts.
Dude, that would crush. I would fucking laugh.
And it was and I remember Wayne Deacon and I sitting on the top deck in the fucking rain, huddled, rather than being with those people who hated us on that boat.
I'm so
I was like, can I swim back? It was horrific. But Jehmal, they're the gigs that you learn from.
And what did you learn? That it was a sliding?
Never go on a boat and do jokes ever again. No.
Do they work cruise ships now?
No.
What
I mean is you need to learn how to change tactics.
Of course.
Especially in the early days. Absolutely. And you can't, not every gig can be killer. We need to remind ourselves that we're working.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Because you can be so almost self-destructive with expectation in this industry, with self-expectation. You always want to be the best. You always want to perform the best, and rightfully so, right? It's the artistic pursuit of doing great, especially if you love the art form. I find the same with music. But I have to find myself as well that it's a journey, finding yourself within your art form. And it's actually the best people that have actually put in the hard yards. I almost said hard yarns and promoted their fucking podcast. Love you guys. But the hard yards, right? And some people, obviously, they pop off earlier, whatever, certain things, certain paths for different people. But yeah, it's something
I think that's age as well, though, Jehmal.
What do you mean?
Knowing who you are in your art form.
For sure.
You know, you're in your 20s. You won't
so
know
young.
You're a baby. I don't want a 20-year-old that knows who he is.
What do you mean? I know who I am.
No, you know what I mean.
I think I exist.
You exist. You know what I mean.
I know.
As a performer and who you are and what you want to say.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Well, thank you for that. I needed that. I might get up on stage next gong show and get gonged.
Who knows? I certainly won't because I refuse to do the gong show.
Oh, you don't want to do
it?
Imagine if you got gonged.
No. Cut me down.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we'll end on the last question now because we've gone for a while. So it's been an amazing chat. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
If there was anything that you could change in the path of, doing this, is there anything that you would? It's okay to say no.
In my personal...
Yeah, like with this career
the journey
choice,
up till now?
the journey up into now in comedy. Is there anything that you would have changed? Or maybe a better way to frame it, is there anything that you would have told yourself earlier on?
Very early... No, I'm going to say no because if anything had changed in this trajectory, I wouldn't be here now, would I?
Very true.
The challenging thing for me is that my success, I suppose, came after my children.
Okay.
So that always I felt restricted my ability to get out there. I couldn't go to Edinburgh. I couldn't go to Melbourne for 5 weeks.
Of course.
Because I had kids at home. And that's always been a challenge. It's a challenge. Because I see all these people without families.
Yeah.
Not that I would not change not having them in any way.
Of course.
But it's always been a handicap. Is that a good word?
Maybe an anchor. An anchor's a better word, surely.
Handicap is a horrible word, but you know what I mean.
I get what you mean.
It's a. I mean, I don't want this to sound like it's a pity party, but for me to come to a gig, there's so much prep that I've got to do at home before I leave. I've got to do the lunches. I've got to do the dinner. I've got to make sure the dinner's ready to go on the stove so that they can go and I've got to make sure the uniforms are done for the next day. I've got to make sure that the excursion slip has been signed. I've got to make sure that the dog's been fed. I've got to make sure that my partner's uniform is ready for tomorrow. I'm not just fucking rolling out of bed, having a bucket bong and coming on stage.
It's so true. It's
true. In yesterday's clothes.
Yeah.
So, and that's the life I chose. I'm not saying that that's wrong or right or for me or for you or for whatever. That I chose that, and I'm grateful to have it. But it is a challenge.
Of course.
So then to go through all that, and then come here and leave it all at the door.
That must be difficult, because
it's challenging.
Challenging.
Yeah.
Is a better word. Better than handicapped. But I did get what you
meant like in golf, not like handicapped.
Well, that's actually such a deep and that was a really deep and really honest answer to that question. Probably the best one that we've had. Most of them go, "Nah, cunt. Not a single thing. I did everything right."
I didn't do everything right. Absolutely not.
No.
I don't think any human has.
It's not possible.
No.
Because we're malleable. We're
I've tried to do the right thing though.
Yeah.
So, someone said to me the other day that I'd never met before.
Okay.
Before a gig, she said, "I've been warned about you." They said to me, "If Janelle doesn't like you, you'll know about it."
Sort of true, I guess, in a way.
Well,
what does that mean, though?
I really thought about it, which is unusual for me. Because at first I thought, oh my God, 49 years of social conditioning as an Australian woman made me go, oh my God, someone thinks I don't like them. Oh my God. And my second thought was, it's not my job to fucking like you.
Yeah.
It's not my job to like you. Whoever you are. I felt like I didn't like that time.
Well, you're packing lunches,
Yeah.
ironing uniforms.
No, but you know what I mean? It's not my job as a senior comic in this community to welcome you in and go, you're okay. No one did that for us.
No. And you don't want them to do that.
No.
Like, yeah, it's so strange.
Stand-up used to be scary, Jehmal.
Yeah, now it's just...
Now as a generation of kids who have been told, you can do anything you want to do. You're amazing. You're the best at everything. That's why the comics my age are better, because they've had to fucking claw their way out of, egos that have been held down.
Hurt people that have been clawed and torn down. Yeah.
Not these 18-year-olds coming on stage going, I'm doing comedy. And then they've got a fucking microphone in their Facebook profile going, comedian. No.
Oh, my God.
No, you're not a comedian.
It's
meant to be hard. That's why people are scared of doing it.
Of course.
It's meant to be hard.
What happened to people dying over this?
Yeah, that's what I want.
What happened to that? We need more people dying instead of fucking doing an open mic. That's what we need. Oh, my God.
Dying on stage, we mean.
Of course.
Yeah, to clarify.
But backstage, I mean something else.
Well, hello.
Yeah. Hello. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today, Janelle.
Adore you.
I adore you.
I really do. And I think it's so important you are a joy in this space.
Thank you,
and
Janelle.
It's so important to acknowledge the people that work in these clubs where we're so privileged to work. Because without you, it sounds pretty shit and it's pretty dark. So I hope people acknowledge you.
They do, Janelle. Thank you. But it means more than you could know, you saying that to me,
Oh,
especially
bless you.
on camera.
Don't
Thank
know
you,
where it
Durkin.
is. That
We're
general
looking at you,
direction.
team. That's a clip. Send it to Mom. Yeah, she's pretty cool. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been Janelle Koenig. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And we shall see you next time.